amazing. If you didn't have to stay on the trail, I'd love to stand where that guy was sitting down. All right, well, this was my camping spot for the night. Some dispersed camping. It was dark when I got here, so I kind of knew about the place, but I wasn't 100% sure. But I found a spot to pull off, and there was somebody else camping just up the road. But other than that, I didn't see anybody. When I was up kind of walking around, I noticed this. Some sort of memorial or something. Killed June 4th, 1968. I don't know if that's just a memorial. But anyways, the other thing I noticed, I got up pretty early. The sun wasn't up yet. Made a little bit of coffee. Got some breakfast, but I noticed this saguaro here. So I did a little bit of light painting and got a pretty cool picture, I think, of that. I just like the way that it has all these chunks missing out of it. You can see the skeleton inside. Wow, look at that one up there. So then I was walking around a little bit, and I noticed, first I was going to go over to this cactus straight ahead, and you can see that's Roosevelt Lake off in the distance there. I was going to take another picture of one of these saguaros, but I happened to glance over and I saw this monster. And I just knew I had to try and get a picture of this. This is a really nice specimen. I liked it because you have all these other like choyas and all this other vegetation around. And I just look how many arms that thing has. That is gotta be an old saguaro. And then it has at the base it has those other plants. So the picture is going to be something kind of like that. Did a little bit of light painting on that one too, so it was still dark when I took that one too, so I'll show that one to you. And there's another one, it was a little bit too far away, but way off in the distance there, there's a good one over there too. But the sun started coming up on me on this one a little bit, so it's a little more blue hour. The sky was starting to light up a little bit, so that's the difference you'll see. And I like that first one I took because you had the glow of Phoenix over those mountains in the background. Because past those mountains is the Phoenix area. And that's what was lighting up those clouds. All right, well, I wanted to go check out that, just a sec, let me jump this cliff here, that gully. In these hills is a Tonto National Monument. I think that's what it's called. But when you go up there a little bit, and that's why I kind of wanted to park here or camp here because it's closer. It's pretty close to that. And it's in real close proximity to Roosevelt Lake. So the visitor center over there opens up at 8 to get in because we're going to hike up to those cliff dwellings. So since it's a little too early, maybe we'll take a stroll down to Roosevelt Lake Marina and check that out. So, real peaceful night of sleep. Real peaceful. All right, let's get going. All right, well, this will give you a really good idea of the area I stayed in last night. You can see that's Roosevelt Lake straight ahead of us. And then also you can see Highway 188, also known as the Apache Trail. And that's where we were just at. We went by Apache Lake, and then we went through Fish Creek Canyon and Canyon Lake on the other side. So those are the hills that we're going to be going to get to those cliff dwellings. And then that road takes you back into some more camping back there.
All we need is a place to be and a few good friends for some company. If you'd like to stay, you don't have to leave. We'll leave the lights on and the door unlocked. If you drop on by, you don't have to knock. We're happy to share whatever we've got.
All right, what do you say? Let's go take a look at Roosevelt Lake. There's a campground I thought maybe we would go stop and take a look at, as well as go down to like a boat launch area, take a look at the shoreline. We do have some time to kill, so might as well make it a beautiful morning at the lake, I say. And then by then, the monument should be open. So we'll head from the lake up to there. It's going to be a nice, fun, relaxing day, except for maybe the climb up to the dwellings. If you take a look across the lake, you can see those mountains. There's a highway that runs up there, and probably my most favorite place to camp up there. It's free camping, and you camp along these cliffs basically, and you can have a good view of the lake and the surrounding area down below. So overall, I was kind of happy with the campground or the camp area that I stayed in. When you get in someplace at night, you're not too sure what you're getting into if you've never been there before. So I kind of had to search around a couple spots. I wanted to get farther away from this highway right here, 188. So I kind of went back a little ways, and just to get away from traffic noise and traffic. But I think it was pretty good spot. Nice and free.
Wide open desert under endless blues, red rocks climbing sunlit hues, scent of sage in the desert air. Seems too long when I'm not there. Towering canyons like old friends, sun kisses the land where trails bend. Back in the warmth of a fiery glow, oh, Arizona is my home. This is where my heart belongs, in Arizona singing songs. Feel the spirit in the sand, I'm back in my homeland.
Well, you can kind of see the sun is pretty low on the horizon still, and it's getting blocked out by those high clouds. We're supposed to have clear sky for the rest of the day, but kind of actually hoping that maybe some of these high clouds, these high thin clouds like that might stick around. Because if we're going to be hiking up the hill to those cliff dwellings, then that extra shade would be nice. All right, well, here's the entrance to this part of the lake. So we have a gate here. Doesn't look like there's anybody here. They're all closed up. So let me go see if I have to pay anything. Not sure. You know, there's the kiosk, some signs. I'm just looking to see because I'm not going to be parking anywhere for any period of time. So anyways, let me get parked. I'll check it out. All right, well, there was a gentleman there, looked like he knew what he was talking about, and I asked him about, do I need to pay anything? And he said, nah, if I'm just going to be driving around, no need. All right, let me slow down, let this guy pass. You got a nice boat there. They're going to go have some fun, aren't they? All right, well, I think what I'm going to do is we're going to head down to the lake first. I've never been here before, so I want to see the what the shoreline is like. There's a boat ramp, see what that's like. And then on the way back out, I think we'll stop at one of the campgrounds. As you look at that, the sun is hitting those mountains back there beautifully. All right, well, you can see a little bit better the shoreline down there on the other side of the lake, how beautiful that is when this light shining on it. All right, so there's a boat launch this way. Wow, I can see a huge a huge parking area down here. Man, this place must get really busy. I've never been down here, like I said before, and especially in the summer, because this looks like it might be all boat trailer parking, and there's some day use area down there I see. This is kind of a neat area. It's like a lowland and it's got all these dead trees. I don't think it would have been a fire. I don't think it's just because it's springtime. I think these are all just dead. Maybe there's just, I don't know. I'd be interested to see what it's like in the summer if any of that comes to life. But it just looks like a fire came through here kind of, but it didn't burn up all the branches. Anyways, wow, here's a big this is a big boat launch area. And so that parking up there maybe is it excess or overflow parking. This is a huge area down here to park your boats, your trailers for your boats. Still not too crowded down here, but anyways, I think we will head over to these rocks along the shoreline, stay out of everybody's way, kind of get away by ourselves over here, so I can just kind of check it out, get out, take a little walk, kill a little bit of time. I'm kind of excited to get up to those cliff dwellings. Oh, there's a boat. Check out that boat straight out there. These guys get out there early, don't they? Get some fishing in maybe. Oh, this is beautiful. Look at those mountains back there too. Gotta love the morning. Wow, just look at this gorgeous view, man. From up here, you really get a good idea with this. Make sure I'm focused. And you get a really good view of these mountains with that low sun hitting them. This is just gorgeous. I'm just gonna let this one go. Just enjoy the scenery. How gorgeous was that? That was beautiful. There they go. Out to have some fun. Boats like that, they probably know where all the, the good spots are to get the bass. Looks like a bass boat. See if I'll gun it. There you go. Yeah, I could hear him out there. Beautiful scenery this morning. Just look at this. And off in the distance there, you can see four peaks. And follow it straight down almost to the shoreline, you can see the beginnings of the bridge to get over to the dam. This is beautiful. It's there's a boat ramp over there. This must be just for little small boats maybe. But where we're gonna go is up into those hills right there is where that national monument is, those cliff dwellings. So that's going to be really interesting. Never been there before. Well, it's going to get a little bit cloudy today, I think. It's going to kind of be like this all day. Some little overhead clouds. Be nice if it cleared up. Wow, the sun is hitting those hills just right. All right, let's go drive around. Wow, look at those cliffs. Catching that sun back there too. Wow. All right, let's go take a quick drive through one of the campgrounds right here.
We're gonna see this great land through ghost town echoes and highways wide, with the world in my rear view and you by my side, rolling with the traveler, free as the breeze, chasing those sunsets through the rustling trees, from starlit skies to campfires aglow. Life's an open highway where we're bound to go.
Let's see, the turnoff should be pretty close. I looked it up on my map. Ooh, there's a pontoon boat. Another one too. Hey, that one looked like it had some high chairs. Yep, here's our turn. So yeah, let's go take a quick drive through. this one campground. There's a couple of them around, and I'm just gonna kind of stop by this one. Seems like it's away from the main road, so you probably will not hear as much road traffic. And look at that beautiful scenery you have. All right, so it's kind of quiet. It's not very big, doesn't look like, but it is well kept. Looks like there's the camp host right there. Picnic tables. I don't see any hookups. Yeah, because you see they have their solar panels out, charging up. Looks like fire rings. That's kind of nice, those picnic tables under the shade like that, especially in the summer. It does get warm here in the summer for sure. Probably would have to make some sort of reservation, I would think, when it gets real busy up here. Now now though, looks pretty empty, to be honest with you. You can kind of see the road that we were on, that truck back there. That's where we were at the lake. Oh, got a dumpster, a couple dumpsters here. It's kind of nice. There's one-way roads. Wow, I like these Palo Verdes right here. So it's not too big. Oh, here's some water. Looks like potable water. And they're staying in a tent underneath that. They moved their oh, what's this? Hey, there's a little, it looks like an old graveyard or something. This is a 10-minute parking. We shouldn't be here that long. Looks like there's about 7 or 8 grave sites. Cool, let's check it out. Not sure how to where to walk. Oh, you can go inside. There's a gate right here. This is pretty neat. I want to see what this sign says. Let's see here. Buried here are 3 Blevins children and an unidentified man shot by sheriff. Also 5 others who are unknown. Well, I don't see any dates. All right, well, that was a neat little stop. Didn't expect to see that. So, well, let's see. Oh, cool. Check out that. It's a teardrop trailer, but it looks like the top lifts up while you're camping. Get extra room. See, there's windows in there too. Wow, that is cool. I personally have never seen anything like that. Well, we've got some more trash bins here. I think I've only heard one generator, and that was at the camp host. I think that's about it. Not much to see. There's another little road if you want to go left here. It's another just in between the little roads that we took. There you go. It's a nice little campground. If you're going to be in this area, I would definitely check to see if you need to make reservations and how much they cost and all that good stuff. All right, well, I do think it's about time to head up to the Tonto National Monument. We've got I might get there a little bit early, but that's okay. I always like getting to these places early. That way there's not a lot of people usually. Before we head up, we're gonna go down here. I wanted to show you guys this. I saw the sign. If I can find it back here. One way. Okay, no camping back here, but this is the sewage dump area. So I thought we would come back here, take a quick look, kind of show you what that looks like. You've got, see one spot there. Is it just the one spot? I don't know. But there's some parking here, it looks like, maybe to wash out, or I'm not sure. What are these parking spots for? I guess maybe this used to be camping in here. Maybe that's what it was. There was camping spots at one time. All right, well, that's gonna do it for your sewage dump. Looks like there's just the one spot, but it doesn't look like it's all that crowded out here. So probably only need one. And there's other campgrounds dispersed around, so they'll probably have the same situation. Maybe if it was a bigger one, they might have two of them. All right, well, I'm gonna try and find my way out of here, and we're gonna head up to the monument.
Wheels are rolling on the 2-lane blacktop. Dust kicking high, won't let this heart stop. Friends beside me, laughter fills the air. Chasing sunsets, we're going anywhere. Wide open roads and a sky full of stars. Living our dreams while we travel afar. The world keeps calling, we can't stay still. Wandering souls with a restless will. Stopped in a ghost town, not a soul in sight. Rusty old signs in the pale daylight. Echoes of the past in the creak of the door, telling the tales of those here before. Wide open roads and a sky full of...
All right, well, look, we're about 5 minutes or so early. The gate's still closed. So conveniently, they have a little parking area right here and I see some storyboards too. So cool. That'll give us something to do while we kill looks like about 5 minutes. So let me just get parked here and we'll check it out. This is just pretty right here. There's a couple storyboards to look at. Let's look at this one. The night sky. The night sky has inspired people for centuries. Designated as an international dark sky park in 2019, protects night skies to benefit visitors, wildlife, ecosystems, and so on and so forth. Look at that, he's got is that a puma? Yeah. As a photographer, I appreciate the dark skies. That's gonna be pretty. That would be pretty to see at night. All right, so park and museum hours, 8 to 5. Lower cliff dwelling, 8 to 4. Tonto National Monument was established December 19th, 1907. It's the 9th National Monument. Hike the steep half-mile trail to the lower cliff dwelling and discover how the vast resources of the upper Sonoran Desert make this a prime place to live. Want a more challenging hike? Explore a stunning landscape, discover a home nestled on a cliffside. Learn from a ranger during a guided hike. The same landscape has hosted different cultures. So this is the lower cliff dwelling that we'll be going to. That's the residence up there. This is going to be fun. Well, you can get a good view. Roosevelt Lake. Well, this should be opening here pretty quick. So we'll grab a little bit more coffee, some water to drink, and then, yeah, this is going to be fun. All right. Well, wasn't too long of a wait. Probably, it was about 5 minutes. And while I was waiting, a couple cars came in, were waiting as well to get in. I just let them go ahead of me. Not in a very big hurry. That'll let them kind of get up the trail a little bit while I check out some of the stuff down below, check out the visitor center. And I just like taking my time. This is some really pretty scenery down here. Unfortunately, well, this is a national monument, so we're not going to be able to get any aerial footage up here, but that's fine. This is just a really, really pretty drive so far anyways. So let's just enjoy the ride.
Another day, morning comes with the first golden rays, packing up gear, hitting highways. Every mile we drive, there's a story to tell. Freedom's a song, and we know it well.
Wow, what a pretty drive that was. You can see straight ahead those cliff dwellings. That's where we're headed. And it looks like I have my pickup spots. So this looks like a good one. This is going to be a blast. All right, let's go do this. You can see these cliffs right up here. That's where we're going to be going. And there's a trail that takes you up. There's some storyboards along the way too, it looks like. So this is gonna be awesome. Let's go over here real quick and take a look. There's even a storyboard, a couple storyboards before we even go in. Really nice view of the lake down below. Look at that. And that's where, wow, you can even see down right in the middle, down in here is where we were. We were checking out the lake down there. And that's the road coming in. All these saguaros look so healthy up here. All right, let's take a look at a couple of these storyboards right here. Then we'll go in, pay, and hit the trail. All right, so let's see here. Sown in field. Although the ancient people could survive on wild plants, they thrived by farming crops. Cotton, amaranth, corn, beans, squash. They were introduced to the American Southwest from Mexico hundreds of years ago, 1300s. Then gathered in the wild. Without metal, rubber, or plastic, what would make shoes out of? They utilize many different native plants for clothing, sandals, mats, and everyday tools. Ribs from dead saguaros were used in the construction of cliff-dwelling roofs. Spines were used as needles. And the sweet fruits provided a summer treat. Mesquite trees provided firewood, and their seed pods were ground into protein-rich flour. Fibrous yucca were pounded and twisted into cordage. Whole leaves were used for making sandals and mats. There you go. And there's some of the yucca that they would use to make their shoes and mats or sandals. I'll even have small grinding pots. All right, let's go pay. Good news. With my America the Beautiful card, I can get in for free. Didn't realize that applied to these. It's a National Park Service, so I guess that makes sense. All right, well, they were very helpful. And they gave me the all clear. We're good to film in here. You got some memorabilia, some hats. Those are nice hats. Like that. Hoodies. Oh, here's a model of what we're going to go see. Preserving the cliff dwellings. Are the dwellings original? The cliff dwellings are mostly original, with some modifications completed for visitors' safety. I'm so glad they're preserving this stuff. I'm glad they had foresight way back when to preserve these, because you hear lots of stories of, you know, if gold was more important than the ruins, they may have not wanted to preserve it to get the gold out, but thankfully. Here's, oh, they got some of the exhibits aren't here. Oh, what's this? Wildlife cameras are positioned around the monument to discover who currently. So this is a part of a fire. That was in the fire, that wildlife camera. Wow. So this is all about the fires that were here. Wow, look at that one. Boy, that fire got really close, didn't it? Man. Cold joints. The walls were built up in layers. Each section was allowed to harden before weight of another. Builders collected nearby tabular rocks and clay-rich soil. The Salado's cliff dwelling have survived for over 700 years. They knew what they were doing. The construction of the cliff dwellings were not planned as complete structures. They started with a few rooms and grew over time. Caves were formed by natural process. The Salado cleared out already loosened rock before building the cliff dwellings.
So what we're really looking for is a way to assess how people
A dripping springs quartzite, 50 to 75 foot thick layer of it.
use the spaces in different places is different. For example, here at Tonto, if you compare this with sites in Mesa Verde area or elsewhere where there are a lot of cliff dwellings, different kinds of spaces. There are kivas. Here there are none. There are not quite as many open spaces
some of
that
the-
are arrayed in the same
some
way.
pottery.
Every one of these cliff dwellings is a little bit different though because of the morphology of the alcove that they're located in. Some are large, deep, high ceiling,
The Tonto Basin, 700 years ago.
Characteristics that are either sought for or didn't like them, so they didn't build in those alcoves.
In 1911, the Bureau of Reclamation built a dam at the confluence.
Rooms here are almost all the same size or started out that way, and therefore it's a
There
little
you go.
different than in the northern
That's what it would have looked like 700 years ago. Oh, wow. It's dark in here. Here's some sandals made out of the yucca plant. Looks like a little flute of some kind. A hammer or an axe using some sort of cactus. And they're grinding down some mesquite beans and corn. How cool is that? All right, let's. Thank you.
That's all that way. Now, you're going to have to make a decision.
Go up some stairs to get to the trail. Now it's a half a mile trail, and it's pretty steep. So luckily, it's not super hot today, so I'll be all right. And I did bring some Gatorade with me, a living desert. Unlike other North American deserts, the Sonoran Desert has 2 rainy seasons, winter rains and summer monsoon. This allows over 2,000 species of plants, hundreds of reptiles, amphibians, birds. Wow. With so much diversity, the Sonoran Desert is often referred to as the greenest desert in North America. I did not know that. It is also the only desert where the iconic saguaro cactus grows. All right, let's. So there's a movie if you want to sit and watch a 20-minute movie about it, you can. Think we won't. So all right, that's where we're headed. Look how healthy that swirl looks. Trail to an ancient home. So let's see, the lower cliff dwelling gains, the trail gains 350 feet over half a mile. So there you go. And here's a little map of it, visitor center, and then the cliff dwelling. So, all right. Now, it has been a while since I've done something strenuous. Now that my knee is getting better, I have plans of getting back to more of my hiking. So I have not started my training yet. So I apologize in advance for what you are about to see. Okay. First storyboard's right here. Yeah, it is steep. I can already feel it in my legs. Revealing layers. Cemented plaster, dripping spring quartzite, so that red, the red rock up there is the dripping spring quartzite. Well, it'll be nice to be able to stop and read the storyboards on my way up. There's a big chunk of that dripping quartzite. Oh, look at that. That is neat. It's a big chunk. Well, we'll take a little detour to get down to another storyboard here. Oh, this is so cool. Just imagine, this is a nice paved trail. Look at all those saguaros. So the trail goes up into here too. Imagine coming up here without this trail 700 years ago. Beautiful, beautiful view. Now it was pretty cool to see that picture in the museum or in the visitor center of what it looked like before they built the dam, before all that water was down there. But it wasn't a dam, wasn't a big lake like that. Persistent plants. Saguaros, ocotillo, agave. The hillside on your right receives less sunlight, resulting in cooler soil with a higher moisture content. So that's over here. Especially in the winter, the sun is a little bit farther to the south. The hillside on your left receives more sunlight, resulting in warmer soil with little moisture. So over here. What's this? Story of the rings. Dendrochronology is a science of tree ring dating. Archaeologists can determine the age of an ancient site by taking core samples from its wood beams. This provides scientists with information regarding the age of an archaeological site. Picked a beautiful day, and it just opened, so there's nobody here yet. Parking lot is starting to fill up a little bit. So there's already some people already up there. They were in a hurry to get up there. All right, the trade routes are located along waterways throughout the world. So this is a market. I was reading the scarlet macaws. So these were brought up. They found some remains during local excavations. So they were brought up from Mesoamerica and traded to communities throughout the Southwest. Wow, way back then. They brought alabone, shells, copper bells, macaws. Their exports were cotton, which still today, big deal in Arizona. See a lot of cotton fields. So you know where we learned that from. Here's one of their game cameras. Blends in pretty good with that tree. Just imagine as a kid 700 years ago, wonder how many times they trekked down this hill to get down to water. Man. Life in the Tonto Basin. The cliff dwellings are the most visible remnants of the Salado culture today. However, in the 1300s, people lived in several types of structures. They settled along the water routes. And here's the river before the lake was there. Man, carrying loads of that stuff down the hill. You can kind of see there's a trail, these guys going down. Wow. Amazing stuff to think about how life was. Look, there's a nest. There's a nest built in that saguaro. Look at that skeleton. That's pretty old too. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 arms coming out of it. Confluence of change. The Apache Trail, that was a really cool drive. I'm glad they opened that back up. We went from Canyon Lake all the way through to the dam right here. But so the Apache Trail was originally constructed by the Bureau of Reclamation to bring materials from Mesa to the dam. All right, so beginning in 1916, Southern Pacific Railroad marketed the Apache Trail as a tourist automobile trip. Now, today, I have to say, today, that road is pretty good. There are some spots where it's they call it a primitive trail, where it's not maintained a lot. But yeah, that would have been a really rough road back in 1916 in a car like that. Wow. So 1907 is when President Theodore Roosevelt made it a national monument. Thank you, sir. Oh, that's another cool saguaro skeleton there. On a hot day, nice covered. The shade's perfectly aligned with the sun, too. Get some nice shade sitting there resting. This one kind of talks about the water, how the lake will evaporate, has a lot of evaporation, gets a little rain up in the hills, and then the water run off into these like creeks that you see down here. Lets these trees grow, which they use in the construction of the cliff dwelling roofs. What's this? So this is a irrigation canal. Wow. He's a Hohokam. I wonder if that's down by that monument down by Florence. The Hohokam. All right, so I do have plans to start training, a little bit more training for hiking, because I had a bad knee. And then when I started YouTube, I kind of got away from hiking. And I was in really good cardio shape. And not so much anymore because of my knee was bad, and then just not getting out as much. So this year I'm going to dedicate more time, at least one day a week, to go out and get in a hard hike. Try and get that cardio back up. Now that they opened up national parks to be able to be viewed on YouTube, I'm going to hike the Grand Canyon. It's a bucket list goal for me. And this little test right here, oh man, I'm tired. But we're almost there. It's just right there. So yeah, I think that'll be a great goal to get out and hike rim to rim. My cousin went from the north rim to the south rim, and what an accomplishment that is. So, when she did it, it inspired me to try and get it done. So, oh good. Here's just in time. A perfect dwelling. It is a perfect house, but small. So he talks about how the construction, the manholes are small so as to work in the groove. Many of the roofs are perfect. There are vigas above them. Talks about ocotillo and reeds and 2.5 inches of mud for the roofs. The floors were black. Lots of pottery. I found an old sandal. Found ropes, twine, corn cobs. Wow. In 1883, little log that he took. So this is what it looked like back then, 1883. You can see, oh, you want to see something interesting? See this guy? See that cactus? Look at that cactus right there. Man, that thing has grown quite a bit. I believe that's it. Everything lines up. Everything lines up right there. See, you've got that going straight up to the middle. That one's going straight up to the middle. Amazing. If you didn't have to stay on the trail, I'd love to stand where that guy was sitting down. Look at that. Wow, but you can see it hasn't changed all too much. You say most of it's original, except for what they had to do to keep the visitors safe. So that is cool. All right, I'm excited to get up here. That is cool to see an old picture like that and a landmark to see how a cactus has grown, that saguaro has grown in 120, 30 years, something like that. Wow. Visiting an ancient home. Oh, they have a dish here for animals, service animals. No pets allowed. Service animals specifically trained to aid a person with a disability are welcome. So that's for service animals. I'm sure the locals take advantage of that too. All right. Yeah, so this is where that guy, right there, where that rebar is where that guy was sitting. How cool is that? And the sun's coming out too. It's a great view here. There's some of the beginnings of it. Some of the wall construction here. That might be a nice picture right there with all the saguaros. Good morning. So he was just explaining to me that it's kind of like the castle, like an old castle. That's pretty much kind of like a window. They can see who's coming up and down the trail. So he thinks they kind of climbed up here kind of like a tree house. Walk around a little bit. Let me get this We saw a picture of this down in the museum. Look how they use those pins that help stabilize the wall. That's pretty smart. Drill a hole through there and it keeps the wall stable. Have one on each side. Wow. And you saw down there that they would, who's coming? Who's coming up down there? But they do it in layers. So they'd let it all harden up. Then they'd put another layer on top, building up. Wow, I'd be interested to see. Wow. Yeah, there were pins on the outside too. So that helped stabilize the wall. Pretty smart. Whoa. Oh, wow. Yeah, here's the other side of that wall with you can see where the pins were. Keep off the walls. Now, I would have had a hard time getting in and out of these rooms, I think. Look how small. I mean, that's 2.5 feet, but look how small these rooms were. Wow.
Yep, on the other side of the ridge, to the right of us, up that canyon, that's where the upper dwellings are at. Oh, okay. They're 300 more feet now.
And he was explaining, look at that. Well, at least they were smart enough to round the edges on that door so they're not hitting their heads on something sharp, which tells me they probably bumped their heads to learn over time. So you can see they have some bigger, from the trees, some bigger branches, and then they use the Ocotillo spines or saguaro spines across that, and then they had some reeds and then the plaster on top of that. Very interesting construction. And he was also saying that this was part of a trade hub. I think probably most of the trading happened down in the river that was down there. But they brought in turquoise, other stuff like that, and then these people made pottery using the black and the red rocks. They'd grind it up and get homemade paint and paint their pottery with these special colors. Look at that little hallway. Man, I wonder what the average height was here. Oh, good, we can walk up there. Okay, here, where did they go?
Yeah, what they did was they started.
They may never know the reason why they left. Current theories, population decline,
and built the walls.
And around 1450s, yeah, probably drought. They probably left. There's a family leaving. Same guy did this illustration.
Used the mud to plaster these walls up. Then, during their building, they implemented woods of the saguaro, where
Excuse me.
just like bamboo, you could use that just like floorboards. In which over here in the middle hallway, as you go around this corner.
So here is where he was talking about the colors in the rocks, the reds and blacks in the rock
And if you look down there, you will
that they would use to make paint to color their pottery.
where we call it the stencils.
Yes, that must be a few on the way up, yeah.
And so it looks like an area they
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
used to work this area, like a little quarry for that. Well, this is still really cool that you can get up here and
Good access to hackberries and
check it out.
as well. Which, the two woods I mentioned at first were used.
This was where a log was, it looks like, because you can see right here, pin was set in there.
Woods were used for crafting of baskets, bows, arrows. And yet, the berry itself can be used to treat
Get that?
various,
Almost like a plank.
everyday medical issues, so
I'm really interested in the construction.
bruises, maybe some
Oh man.
with a simple scrape.
So it's just a lot of rock, covered in plaster. So actually, this roof was about 6 feet, it looks like. But then, I can't go in here, but you can kind of see, I'll lean in here. There's a game camera over there too. You can just see how small. You had to though. This lintel was made out of branches, but you had to make it small. Very interesting. Here, I'm going to see if I can
That flowed in and provided them
zoom you up into here,
without having to go
see what's in there.
several miles to the river.
I can't see in there.
Now, what's so interesting is these cactuses like fruit, which they can ferment into wine that's sweeter than Sauvignon.
That is so cool. All right. Boy, they used every little nook and cranny they could. That was part of a wall there, part of this wall. Wow. Oh, I'm going to come back up here and see if I can look over this wall. See what's in here. That one has a steel bar, help support it. It's another room, probably. Yeah, and you can kind of see if you stand back. I don't know, they're still pretty straight. It is leaning a little bit, but that might be a neat picture. I've got my camera, so I'm going to take some pictures here before I get down, for sure. All right, well, let's get out of here. And there's Jacob. He's gave me a lot of information. Thank you, Jacob, for all that. Very informative, and I appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome.
It's very,
Thank you for visiting us.
very interesting. So have a good day. So yeah, it took about half an hour to get up here. If I stopped and read all the signs, so you can get up here quicker if you like, but it's interesting to stop and read about the history. So about an hour total I was up here after looking around. As I was getting ready to leave, I heard him call up that there was a Boy Scout troop coming up. Oh, look, this is neat. That's kind of cool. That's neat. Yeah, I can kind of hear them working their way up, so figured it'd be a good time to skedaddle. Oh, there's even, you can even see more up along in there. Another small little room. Must have been the mother-in-law suite. Getting a little bit farther from the house. All right, here come the kids. Well, you can see from up here, parking lot's getting a little more full. About 10 o'clock, probably now. Stop and getting some pictures. All right. So look at there's some hawks up there circling around. This is a beautiful hillside. All the saguaros are on this side. Like that sign said, that side over there doesn't get as much sun. All the swirls seem to be over here. Here comes another one.
Guys, we're in a death circle. Guys, we're in a death circle right now. Guys, we're in a death.
Yeah, there's a steady stream of people coming up now. Might be a little bit of a break, but it got really busy up there. I'm glad I got up there when I did. Got some nice clean pictures with nobody in it. Got that old dead ironwood tree down there. All right, this was a blast. Hey, if you like this kind of content, don't forget to reach down, click that like button, and subscribe if you haven't. It really does help the channel grow and lets me get out and do more stuff like this. And make sure you join me on my next video, because we're going to go check out the world's smallest museum. We're going to go find some old wagon wheel tracks that were carved into some bedrock from being used so much. And then we're also going to find an old stage stop that was used between Globe and Apache Junction.
Seabee travelers ready. We're gonna see this great land through ghost town echoes and highways.
All right, well, that's going to do it from the Tonto National Monument. What an amazing place to come visit. So anyways, I'm going to sign off, and just remember, never say goodbye, always see you later.